Hey, it's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm gonna give you 5 simple tips to help you add bat speed to your swing fast. More bat speed is gonna allow you to hit more doubles, more triples, more home runs. It's really just gonna help you stand out much more as a hitter. So I really think you're gonna enjoy today's video. Without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so the very first thing that's really important when it comes to improving your bat speed and hitting the ball harder with more authority is you have to focus on smashing the baseball, okay? I think that now this very first thing is a mental cue, right? It's something to think about. We're gonna get into some actual mechanic things that you can do in just a minute to boost your bat speed, okay? But the very first thing that I want to make sure that you're doing is focusing on smashing the baseball, because I think there's a really subtle difference between, and this is, off of the tee, this is in batting practice, this is in a real game. There's a difference between stepping in the batter's box and having that good aggressive mentality of, yes, I'm attacking the baseball, I'm smashing the baseball. There's a subtle difference between that and then stepping in the batter's box with kind of a passive mentality, kind of just, especially during practice and BP, kind of just, starting to feel things out and go through the motions. And hitting is not something where you go through the motions. Hitting has to be violent. And so I promise you, if you just shift your mentality from just going through the motions and more of a passive mentality to I am trying to smash this baseball and see how hard I can hit it, it's got to be controlled. It can't be, you're swinging out of your shoes and you're swinging too hard. We don't want to try to do too much, but having that good aggressive mentality, the yes, yes, no approach, that's going to make a monumental impact in your bat speed. The next thing that's extremely important when it comes to adding bat speed and adding it fast is you have to focus on achieving quality separation. Okay, I see this all the time with, I would say young hitters, but hitters all across the board, and they really don't get a whole lot of separation. And of course, every hitter out there is looking to hit the ball a little bit harder, a little bit further. And so this is one area that you really want to check. Are you getting separation? And what I mean by separation, I love to use this example. Imagine that I have a rubber band in between my fingers, right? So I'm holding a rubber band here. Now, if my fingers are just this far apart, that rubber band doesn't have a whole lot of energy, right? Because my fingers, they don't have any separation. However, the more separation, the further I move my fingers apart like this, what happens to the rubber band? The rubber band stretches and all of a sudden it has all this energy built up, and then eventually it gets to a point where it's just gonna snap. Well, we want the exact same thing in our baseball swing, but instead of obviously a rubber band, right? Separation in terms of the baseball swing comes from separation between your lower body and your upper body. So when you go into, your load and your stride, it's getting into a good launch position and your hips, almost beginning to rotate while your hands are still back here, while you have a good stretch with your lats here, while this front arm is lengthened. This is separation, but I see a lot of hitters, what they do, let's say they're in a stance that's something like this. They have their hands in a position here, and then when they load and they stride, their hands don't really move at all. They don't achieve any of that, that buildup, any of that separation. They don't have anything to really throw at the ball aside from, their hands. So if we know that separation is a good thing and we want more separation, well then how do we actually achieve that? The easiest, most simplest way that I've found that works for hitters to think about in terms of a mental cue to remember at the plate is just allow your body to walk away from your hands. So just think about walking away from your hands. And what I mean by that is, okay, the pitcher's on the mound, he's kind of getting his sign, right? We're in here, we're nice and loose, relaxed. Then obviously, this is our starting point. This is our stance. I don't care if you're, square, if you're open, if you're closed. I don't care if you like your hands up here or down here. Everyone has a slightly different stance, all right? Now, when you go into your load, right, we have to load. We have to transfer our weight back so then we can start building up some momentum, and we have to do a load for a timing mechanism, right? And so as we load, you do not want to focus on, don't push your hands back. Don't say, well, Coach Justin said we have to get separation and we have to have our hands, back here like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my hands back. No, that's the wrong way to go about it. Actually, when you load, your hands don't move a whole lot. So you start out in a position similar to this, and as you load, your hands pretty much stay in the same spot. It's as you stride forward towards the pitcher, that's when your hands still stay back here, right? Your hands stay back here. My hands aren't moving. They're back here, but my body's going forward, and it almost looks like I'm pushing my hands back. You see what I mean by that? So if I go really, really slow here, I'm in my stance, I load, my hands don't move a whole lot, but then as I move this way, I'm not gonna move my hands back. My hands are still in the same spot, but my body's moving forward. I'm just keeping my hands back. then I can get into a good launch position. All right, and what do I mean by launch position? Well, launch position is simply the position that you're at when your front foot hits the ground. So everyone has a starting point, and then you load and you stride, and when your front foot hits the ground, this is your launch position. Now, every hitter out there can have a slightly different stance. Everyone can stand a slightly different way when they're starting out their swing. But next to every single hitter should look the exact same at the launch position and at the point of contact. Those are kind of the two areas. And so a couple things, players, and then, dads, coaches, if you're watching this as well, what to look for in your son or your team, whatever. At the launch position, there's a couple things that I like to focus on, okay? Number one, your front foot should land slightly open, about 45 degrees. We don't want it closed like this. We want it slightly open, not all the way like this, slightly open, about 45 degrees, okay? Your hitter should be, in an athletic position, sunk down into an athletic position, just like they're playing linebacker or defense in basketball. They should be in an athletic position here. Now, with, their arms, they should have a really good stretch in this front arm here. It shouldn't be completely barred out, right? We don't want that, but they should have a really good length in this arm here, and you should feel a stretch in your lats here, okay? And then the last major thing that you should pay attention to is the knob of the bat. Where is their knob pointing, okay? When you get into your launch position, a common problem that I see is the knob not facing down towards the catcher. Down towards the catcher, that's about the angle that your knob should be facing. It shouldn't be facing towards the first base dugout. It definitely shouldn't be facing, towards the pitcher like this, okay? If you look at any, major league super successful hitter, at the launch position, their knob is facing down towards the catcher. And a lot of people think, well, this looks like I'm wrapping the bat here. And there's a subtle difference between, this obviously is wrapping the bat, but where's my knob pointed? Not towards the catcher, it's pointed towards the backstop, right? And so, yes, your bat is gonna be angled behind the hitter's head, but as long as the knob is facing down towards the catcher, that gets them into a great hitting position. Another thing that's very important to understand when it comes to adding bat speed is that the hips lead the way. This is something that Ted Williams said, and Ted Williams, the greatest hitter to ever live, right? He said that the hips lead everything else. And specifically, what I want you to focus on if you're a hitter, or again, dad, coach, watching at home, whatever, when you get to the launch position, right? We just talked about what a good launch position looks like. Really, when the hips lead the way, and the hips really start going when that front heel drops. So when you get to your launch position, my heel hasn't dropped yet. I kind of land on the ball of my foot. And then when that front heel drops, that's kind of when my hips begin to fire, and the hips kind of pull everything else through the zone. But the hips lead the way. And I think a lot of hitters have this belief that, even if they're good up until the point of getting to a launch position, they have this belief, they've been taught to just, throw the hands, and the hands do not lead the way. You really shouldn't have to think about your hands a whole lot in the swing. If you get to a good launch position, everything else should kind of happen naturally, okay? So focus on, remember, the hips lead the way, and when do the hips start leading the way? It's when your front heel drops. That's when your hips begin to rotate, and then that kind of pulls everything else through the zone. This next tip will not only help your bat speed, but your consistency at the plate as well. That tip is, don't stop at the point of contact, drive through the ball. And I know how common sense this sounds, right? But a lot of hitters, in fact, if any hitter sends me their swing to do a swing analysis on it, pretty much I would argue that about 75% of these hitters, they struggle with what I'm gonna talk about right now. And that is, they can have a great stance. They can have a really nice, calm, load, and a great stride. They get into a great launch position. Everything is great. And then they get to the point of contact. And what happens? They make contact, right? And then immediately after contact, they get really, really flippy with their hands like this. And obviously, getting flippy with your wrist, that's going to impact your bat speed, right? I mean, what looks more powerful? Getting to the point of contact and flipping like this, or driving through the ball, getting to that good extension position? Obviously getting extension, right? But what a lot of hitters fail to realize is this actually not getting into that good extension position, it really hurts your consistency at the plate, because think about it, your timing has to be absolutely perfect when you have that flip in your swing. What I mean by that is this, okay? Let's say we get to a good launch position, our bat gets on plane with the pitch, we're on plane, we get to the point of contact, we're obviously on plane there, but what if our timing is just a little bit off, right? What if we're a little bit early and all of a sudden we're not going to hit the ball here because we're early? If we get good extension, we continue to drive through the ball, we could still make contact. Even if our timing's off, we can still make contact out here because we're continuing to gain ground with that top hand towards the pitcher, right? But if we get flippy at the point of contact, right? If we get to the point of contact and we immediately flip our wrists, my bat immediately gets taken off plane with the pitch. You see that? So I know it sounds like common sense, and extension is really a byproduct of doing everything else in your swing, but just make sure you're getting to that good extension position. It's something that every hitter should constantly work on. Drive through the ball. Don't stop at contact, drive through it. And the last tip to add bat speed fast is medicine balls, okay? Medicine balls can be a huge game changer for every single baseball player out there, okay? The thing that I love about medicine balls, and I love lifting weights as well, I highly recommend that baseball players lift weights, but medicine balls is one of the most baseball specific movements that you can do. Here's why. Everything that we do on the baseball field is explosive, right? Hitting in particular, that's what we're talking about in today's video. Hitting is an explosive movement. We're not methodical at the plate. Everything is explosive. We explode when we hit. We explode when we throw. We explode when we're running, when we're stealing a base, right? When we get a hit, when we crush the ball, we explode out of the batter's box. So everything on the baseball field is explosive. Well, everything we do with a medicine ball should be explosive as well. And then the second thing that I love about medicine balls is baseball is such a rotational game, right? When we're hitting, we're rotating. When we're throwing, we're rotating. And so we can mimic that. We can actually overload our muscles. We can mimic that in our training, right? Obviously, I recommend hitting as much as humanly possible because that's going to make you better. But the days that you're not maybe hitting, or maybe you got your swings in for the day, a great way to take your training to the next level, incorporate medicine balls. There's so many different exercises that you can do with medicine balls. Some of my favorites, you can do medicine ball slams. You can do super hitting related. You can do medicine ball, throws, rotational throws like this. You can do medicine ball scoops. You can throw the ball over your head. A million different medicine ball exercises. If this is interesting to you, I can make more videos specifically about medicine balls, but try medicine balls, add that to your routine. I promise you it's going to help you take your bat speed to the next level. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. And really quickly before you go, if you're serious about improving your bat speed, you really want to hit the ball harder and further, then check out betterbatspeed.com, okay? All you have to do, just type in betterbatspeed.com, or you can actually even click on this card right up here. That'll take you to that page. All I need is your email address, and then I'm going to send you a free Bat Speed Boosters workout that's going to help you quickly take your bat speed to that next level. So betterbatspeed.com, or just click on this card right there and you can grab your free Bat Speed Boosters workout. All right, so go ahead and do that right now. As always, if you're not subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're coming out with brand new videos every single week, and I don't want you to miss any of them. All right, so subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. Until next time, I'm out.